studio doing this little bonus content on Texas corporations. And this is going to be about state tax reporting and taxation as it applies to all forms of corporate entities in the state of Texas, which are basically classified as franchises. The state franchises and gives business owners the right to conduct business in the state of Texas. If they comply with filing laws, they can stay in the good graces of the taxing authority, which is the Texas Comptroller. I want to make sure I'm not being dismissive about the challenges that are facing our nation right now. The chief of which is the civil unrest and discord from the tragic murder of Mr. Floyd in the state of Minnesota. And we are listening, we are paying attention, and we are reminded that the motto of our great nation is out of many one, and we have got to start living up to the rhetoric of our own Revolutionary War and of the founders. And I think maybe for the first time ever, we're all hopefully going in that direction collectively as one people. And also, we are cognizant of the economic upheaval of the coronavirus pandemic and what it has meant to our friends, neighbors, colleagues, people around the world, friends and family around the world who are facing the toughest economic challenge as this virus continues to challenge and daunt our society and our businesses and our abilities to provide for our families. So we're thinking about all of you. We're praying for all of you. We're hoping that we can all come together collectively and heal from this and the virus soon. So this is bonus content on taxation of Texas corporations. And so I'm not talking about federal law. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a federal tax attorney. I know enough to be dangerous, but I rely on CPAs and tax attorneys. And I think any professional in business should. So what I do want to visit about is what your reporting requirements are as a a franchise business owner in the state of Texas. Every business owner in the state of Texas owes the Texas Comptroller franchise reports every May 15th. These franchise reports need to have the following information: your total gross income for the previous tax year, and they need to be included with a public information report identifying all members or managers and registered agents, things of that nature. And they need to be updated yearly. And these forms are easier. They're so easy to fill out. It's almost as easy as stepping on a banana peel or falling out of a boat. They're very, very straightforward, a few clicks, and they are done. What's critical about doing them is that the failure to do so will result in a tax forfeiture notice from the comptroller, and then depending on whether that tax forfeiture notice goes ignored or is not answered timely, then there may be some penalties for reinstatement when it eventually is. The other danger is, let's say you're in one of those businesses where you're putting services or goods out into the world, and there is a lawsuit, and the corporate form has been forfeited by the taxing authority. The comptroller gives you that forfeit notice on July. Usually you'll get it somewhere between June 15th and July 15th, after it's been more than 30 days and no report filed. And let's say somebody slips in your business, or one of your employees makes a mistake on a customer job and something is damaged. There's an argument that there's no corporate protection when the tax forfeiture is active. So it can be reinstated quickly, but you see there's that gap in corporate status between the expiration of the previous corporate charter because of failure to report and the reinstatement. So let's say that occurs sometime over that summer before the reinstatement is noticed, and that's usually what happens, is that a lawsuit is filed, and that's when a company realizes that it's let its charter become forfeit. It's an easy thing to do. It's an easy thing to forget to do. Make sure you got professionals in place who have backstops to help you do that, because if you're not a details person, and again, the LLCs, the LPs, They're like sole proprietorships. They're for people who are not details people, because they're the ease of ownership, the ease of running them. Make sure you have backstops and checkbacks. Make sure it's on your calendar. On May 5th, have you given whoever's filing your report your gross income for the business for the previous year? And have they filed the report? Or if you're doing it yourself, make sure it's on your calendar with appropriate reminders. And the other thing is getting it reinstated. That's an easy thing generally. If it hasn't been many, many years since the forfeiture, and otherwise, if it has been usually more than 3 or 4 years, you're going to be required to go down to the Comptroller's local office. For example, here in North Texas, it's in Dallas off of LBJ Highway, and sit there and fill out the forms and pay there's going to be some penalties, but they're fairly nominal. And then the last thing is, that tax report. And, business owners in Texas get really concerned because Texas is all about open for business and no dual taxation. And generally that's true. Generally, that is totally true. The tax threshold for franchise taxes is somewhere around $1.2 million in the state of Texas. So that's a problem we all want to have. But on the other side, most small businesses are not going to have that problem. So just rest assured, there's no dual taxation generally, unless your company, your entity becomes one of those real superstar, world-changing high earners. And hey, frankly, that's a problem you want. So that's maybe a goal to achieve, is one day when you're making that franchise tax payment to the Comptroller instead of filing a no tax due report. Anyway, I hope this has been informational, helpful, positive, uplifting. That's what it's meant to be. Please like, subscribe, and share. Leave me a question or comment. I'll reply back in a direct message or a video content message right back to you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys hopefully on the road soon, but for the time being in the studio.